right, here we go.
Often imitated, the biggest win ever. Never duplicated.
The comments, I'm not ready.
Oh, the original. And is it going to be any different this week?
I don't think so, man. Billy Kamel here. K-pause. I just forgot what I was going to say.
Circus here coming at you. First tournament, like, all right, Ken Hawk, take it back, search a card. Man, I'm cruising. This is great.
Ken Hawk.
Join us each week as we track decks and see how they perform in tournaments around the community. This is the DLE Power Rankings. What's up, everybody? Circus here coming at you with this week's Power Rankings video. There's quite the shakeup in the top 5 this week, so Kamel's in here with me because he loves shakeups. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
And if you're unfamiliar with what we're doing here, each week we track decks as they're played in tournaments throughout the community, and then we rank them based on how they finish. So if a deck gets a first place finish, it gets 6 points. A second place finish is 4 points. A top 4 is 2 points. And a top 8 is a single point.
That's right, Circus. And to keep the Power Rankings consistent, all the tournaments have to have the same format, and that is rounds of Swiss into a top cut, with a single deck and a 7-card side where you can side in a skill. And the tournaments meeting that criteria this week are the Battle Phase events, the Meta Series, and the Meme Maker Cup. And if you want guaranteed access to the Battle Phase events, all you have to do is become a channel member on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube because less than half the people watching this video are subscribed. So we'd appreciate it.
That's terrible. And it's going to help even more if you check out those YouTube shorts as well.
All right. Now that we got the promotion out of the way, let's take a look at number 5.
Number 5.
That was absolutely gross, dude.
Stick and Chair Dark Lords.
Hot off their KC Cup win, Dark Lords stormed the tournament scene this week. Low representation, but a high conversion rate, both to the top 32 and to the top 8. And they did steal the win of the first tournament after the KC Cup.
That's right. Part of that reason is because you can see winner here, Lorenzo Roma, one of the extremely skilled players who was piloting the deck at the top of the KC Cup ladder just last week. Also, Dark Lords is kind of just the kind of deck that is built to survive in a meta like this. Chain, Effect, Negation, Revivable Monsters from the Grave. The only deck that I can think it will have a really bad matchup is Blue Eyes, because it has a tough time getting over the 3,000 stat line, but being able to make these powerful rank 4 Xyz monsters, Ouroboros, like on turn 1 is extremely powerful. No other deck can do it like Dark Lords. And you still have the Chain Summoning, the Chain Effect Negation that was also always very powerful. And it's super powerful right now against some of the top decks like Onomatopoeia, Water, Noble Knights, Thunder Dragons. All those decks, suffer from Effect Negation.
I was hoping this deck is dead, but as they say, Dark Lords never die. So we'll see how they do in the next week. So let's take a look at number 4.
Number 4.
Exceed Shokan.
Onomats.
Falling from first place all the way down to 4th place this week is Onomats. A lot higher representation. Conversion rates aren't that bad, and they did get a win in the Meme Maker Cup this week.
Yeah, I want to say that a lot of people were made aware of how to pick apart and beat Onomatopoeia during the KC Cup. It was one of the top performing decks, as you can imagine. This week, not seeing too many high placements outside of their one win in the Meme Maker Cup. The overall deck list hasn't changed, but I really think that this deck is making use of things like the double Malevolent Sin. That's one of the very powerful kind of plays you can go into when you have a lot of monster resources at your disposal. And it just helps the deck pop off really hard. And the deck still has access to 7 limited cards, something that people are looking at and not having access to in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll see how this one survives the ban list. All right, let's take a look at number 3.
Number 3.
Summons a Jinzo?
Thunder Dragons.
Dropping 1 spot to number 3 this week is Thunder Dragons. High representation, decent conversion rates. They even got a win in Battle Phase Saturday, but it's not enough to get them the top spot this week.
Yeah, I want to say that people are starting to figure out that to beat Thunder Dragons, you have to outgrind them, hit them with those effects that limit them repeatedly, and a lot more decks are starting to have access to that. Water, Onomatopoeia, being able to make things like Abyss Dweller, turn off the grave completely, stopping banishing from Thunder Dragons. You can see that this is causing them to run a lot more defensive cards, like Tricera Fortress Tops.
There you go.
I believe that is called. It is called that. And that card is extremely good against chain summoning decks, right? Decks that are going to Xyz summon, then take advantage off of the remaining cards they have in their hand to Xyz summon again. Or chain special summon off of that, Noble Knights, Blue Eyes, Onomatopoeia. So I think Thunder Dragons are doing well right now. But again, this is another deck that is 100% up in there. We're talking about the ban list a lot because these next couple weeks is when we're going to be seeing the changes.
I think this is the deck that probably needs to be hit the least, if at all.
Yeah, but I do think it may be a receiver of something. It is still making use of the Lightsworn engine. It's making use of the Grave, unlike any other deck. And that's always been something that Konami's uncomfortable with. So, yeah.
All right, we'll have to see what else Konami's uncomfortable with. All right, we're getting to the top 2 here. What's it going to be?
Number 2.
Abyss Dweller, swing, 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 and that's it. Nothing else.
The Water Deck.
Coming in number 2 this week is the Water Deck. It has a lot of representation, a little bit lower conversion rate, but we see that when the deck gets played this much. 2 tournament victories, 1 in the Battle Phase series and 1 in the Meta series. Honestly, I'm surprised this deck is doing as well as it has been.
Yeah, that's because almost more than double its participation from the previous week, the KC Cup's influence on this deck, making it appear as a top contender against some of the big decks like Noble Knights, Blue Eyes, and Onomatopoeia. And it has proven to be one of the most effective decks at main decking these effective counter cards that you can run into in any matchup. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror was a main deck card in both of the tournament-winning decks this week. Of course, that gives you a huge advantage up against the next deck we're going to talk about, and a deck Noble Knights, which you can see we haven't talked about that yet either. So
maybe they're
deck,
number 1.
We'll have to see. But as long as you can get to your starters in Water Deck, you have an extreme advantage over just about any other meta deck. Having Abyss Dweller turn 1 and being able to follow up with another Xyz monster after that is just so powerful.
All right. This is what people have been waiting for. The number 1 deck of the week.
Number 1.
Oh my god, he gets to draw a card. Must be nice.
Desperado.
And there you go. Number 1 this week is Desperado. This is a deck that I thought was dead and gone, but baby, it's back with at number 1 here. Highest representation of the week. Decent conversion rate. 2 tournament victories. What do you got to say about that, Kamel?
Circus, I was saying a lot that I did not think Desperado was going to be the receiver of a nerf, but honestly, it's still winning the power rankings. We may not be able to avoid it at this point. Desperado came out big in the KC Cup. Maybe not Desperado itself, but kind of the coin flip idea, or just the idea of playing this combination or the engine that you would usually play without Desperado, and just limiting your opponent at every chance you get. This deck just does the best. That's the most effective strategy right now, and this deck does the best. There's nothing more to say about Desperado.
The most degenerate deck in the meta.
But what we can say is, why is Noble Knights not here? And that is because all of these decks we've been talking about, I think that they're all like trying to do something to beat Noble Knights. And Desperado this week did it the best. That's what I believe. They ruined their chances before they made it to the top couple before they could get points.
All right, let's take a quick look here at the at-a-glance stuff. This is overall representation. Desperado on top. Look at Noble Knights. We'll get to where they placed here in a minute, but look at that. Second place in representation.
Ugh,
not number 1 in our hearts, I'll say that this week.
That is rough. That is Noble Knights. First week not in the top 5, I think, since they came out, right?
Yep, first time. Conversion rates this week. Stick and Chair Dark Lords at the top. They also had a lot lower representation, but still 25% is still pretty good. And look at that. Invoke Neo, still around. It's still around.
Yeah, conversion rates, you'll always see them drop off, as more people pick up the deck. And Stick and Chair Dark Lords is definitely in a niche right now, and it's performing. So
everybody's running back and getting those old cards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then this is the other thing everybody's here for, and I know Kamel's here for, the tier list. And this is how it kind of shook out this week. The points were really close, so I kind of chopped it up, and I feel like this represents a pretty good Desperado in the Water Deck. Tier 1, Tier 2 Onomats, and Thunder Dragons Tier 3, Stick and Cherry Dark Lords, and Blue Eyes. Excuse me.
And I think this is good. This is like displaying the speed of which your deck has to perform and how survivable it has to be against, just one-off forms of removal. None of the decks here completely collapse just from being hit by one card. And I think you're going to see that as something that has to be maintained for the coming weeks.
And notice, again, Noble Knights not on the tier list. I'm sure we just upset a lot of people. But we're going to take a look at the main overall list right now. And you're going to see why. Right here. Bam.
Ooh.
6 points.
And guys, you have to look at every deck that is above Noble Knights right now. It is true. Noble Knights is slowing down. Noble Knights being a control deck is not doing enough for them. Being able to only establish one monster on the start of your turn, if you do not go first, and your entire strategy falls apart to one back row, that's not going to be good enough anymore. You're going to have to run things in your hand that can protect your cards, things in your hand that you can make multiple plays with. That's what Desperado does. Water deck, Onomatopoeia, Thunder Dragons, they all give you multiple avenues for play. Noble Knights, I believe, in a turn-to-turn basis, if you're not allowed to build a lead, it is too slow, and that's why it did not perform this week.
And then if anybody's wondering, Onomat and Thunder Dragons did have a statistical tie, both with 17 points, but in the end, Thunder Dragons did have a second place finish, so they should be third place on the graphic here. Sorry about that. I just copy paste, folks, and it's in alphabetical order. That's all it is. That's all it is.
I don't know. How do you feel about Noble Knights not being there?
I'm not surprised. Like you said, everybody's trying to get rid of them. That's all it is. They're just tacking to play against Noble Knights. And when you do that, Noble Knights are going to do well, and other decks are going to rise up like we've seen. I mean, look at how Blue Eyes was, 1 point out of the top 5? Last week, they didn't even make it to the top 5, so... Trimids were in there. I mean, look at all the people scoring points, man. Trimids, Fire Kings, Invoke Neos, Evil Eyes, Star Seraph. I mean,
absolutely insane.
When everybody's targeting one deck, that leaves room for other decks to kind of weasel in there.
Definitely.
All right, so we're going to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy Kamel, because I enjoy Kamel. I love me some
I enjoy Kamel too.
Yeah, all right. So you should get in our Discord, because the tournaments are free, the Discord is free, the new player help is free. It's a good time. Make sure to check out Kamel's shorts, and I do not mean his shorts. I mean his shorts.
My YouTube shorts.
I mean? Oh, okay.
Check them out. First person who finds one of my shorts in their YouTube home section shorts reel gets a Twitch sub. And with that sub, you get guaranteed tournament access.
Dude, you just gave away 1,000 subs.
The first person to get us will be proof. All right.
All right. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next time. I'm Circus. That's Kamel.
Peace out.
See ya.